Hello everybody, welcome to my Academy Awards hosts and predictions list. And for those of you who watch my channel regularly, you know that this is annual. I do it every year. And you also know how I feel about the Academy Awards. So as you can see, I can hardly contain how ecstatic I am, but I will try to compose myself. The Oscars are like a yearbook, a high school yearbook. When you open it up, what's the first thing you see? You see all these awards that are given out, these dumb awards like Best Hair, Most Popular, Best Couple, all of these things. And at the time, they seem to mean so much. But, a month later, even 2 weeks later, nobody cares. They're not into rewarding people that are creative or nerdy or individuals. They want people that are accessible and things that are accessible. And then you go to your high school reunion about 20 years later and you see these people that were voted most popular and you go, wow, they really let themselves go. They haven't aged well. And the people that were really creative, individuals, and nerds are the ones that are ruling the world. It's the same with the Oscars. They award these movies that are, revered by the Hollywood Foreign Press and the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences. But at the end of the day, they're more interested in rewarding movies that are more commercially acceptable and less creative and unique. And I know there's one that was left off for this Academy Awards. I just can't remember the name of it. Inside Llewyn Davis. Wow. So I'm just going to go down the list. I have my little trusty list here of categories. And I really haven't looked at this list that much. I just kind of scanned it on the computer, so I'm really getting a good glance at it. But I'm just going to tell you who I hope will win and who I think will win. So let's start with Best Picture. So first we have 12 Years a Slave, The Wolf of Wall Street, Captain Phillips, Her, American Hustle, Gravity, Dallas Buyers Club, Nebraska, and Philomena. I think it's going to come down between 12 Years a Slave and American Hustle, but I do think that 12 Years a Slave will win. And I'm not going to go on about 12 Years a Slave. You all know how I feel about it if you watched my top 5 of the year and also my review of it. You know that I think it's a near perfect film, and I found it just completely incredible from beginning to end. And I also thought American Hustle was great, but I do think that this is the year for Steve McQueen and for 12 Years a Slave. Okay, so let's go on to Best Director. We have Steve McQueen for 12 Years a Slave, David O. Russell for American Hustle, Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity, Alexander Payne, Nebraska, Martin Scorsese, The Wolf of Wall Street. I think that it's going to come down between Steve McQueen and Alfonso Cuarón, but I do think that Alfonso Cuarón is going to be the one to take the award, and I don't really have a problem with that. I think that when you make a movie like Gravity that is, kind of innovative in terms of like the mechanics, the craft of it, I think it deserves a reward for that when you're really pushing the boundaries of filmmaking. Now, I wasn't as crazy about Gravity as a lot of people were, but I still really, really liked the movie. But when I mean innovation, I mean, the movie itself, it was a typical Hollywood narrative structure, done very well, don't get me wrong. But what really kind of stood out to me was how kinetic everything was, how everything was so kind of bound together in such a seamless way. And it really was an exciting kind of jolt in the Hollywood system, I think, for this kind of filmmaking to exist. So yes, I think that Alfonso Cuarón will win. I would pick Steve McQueen for 12 Years a Slave. Now, it's more subtle in terms of just the craft of it, but I don't think it's any less of a film at all. I mean, as you know, I think that Steve McQueen is a wonderful upcoming auteurist filmmaker and is able to create such intensity and especially just with the way that the films build hypnotically and with the imagery. And because he had a wonderful script and a wonderful cast like 12 Years a Slave, it was beautiful and it matched so well. So he would be my personal choice. But again, I think Alfonso Cuarón will win. Okay, so next we have Best Actor. Okay, Bruce Dern for Nebraska, Chiwetel Ejiofor for 12 Years a Slave, Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street, Christian Bale for American Hustle. I think this is going to come down between Chiwetel Ejiofor and Matthew McConaughey, and both wonderful performances. But I do think that Chiwetel Ejiofor will win the Oscar, and I think he should win the Oscar. He is a man who is just, you want to talk about an actor or a man who's just so composed and so trained and has been, turning in wonderful performances for years. He's never really had a leading man status, though. This is his first time, and when you have a film as dark and incredibly visceral as 12 Years a Slave, you need somebody at the center of it to be able to carry that on their backs. And I think that Chiwetel Ejiofor did it. I mean, his performance was just harrowing, incredible. And, he is so versatile. Like, you look him up and you can see him, reciting Shakespeare and in Children of Men, all these wonderful performances. So I really do hope he wins. But again, Matthew McConaughey might win, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. And as I've said many times before, the dude is on fire. I even watched, even not just in movies, but in TV as well. I watched True Detective, the premiere for it on Sunday, and he just killed it. He stole it. He is the reason why I think that show is going to be successful. So props to him, and wonderful performance in Dallas Buyers Club, one of his very best, I think. And if he won, I think it would be great. But again, I do think Chiwetel Ejiofor will win. Next, we have Best Actress, and the nominees are Amy Adams for American Hustle, Cate Blanchett for Blue Jasmine, Judi Dench, Philomena, Sandra Bullock, Gravity, and Meryl Streep for August Osage County. I feel kind of bad for Amy Adams because she's always being nominated and she never wins. And people always are kind of saying, oh, well, her time will come. And I really thought that this would be her year because she is wonderful in American Hustle. I think one of the standouts. And there are plenty of great performances in that film, a plethora of amazing actors. But I mean, especially, I think that what she brings to the role is just this kind of ferocity, but like this cool kind of coldness as well. It's kind of icy, and kind of the two of those together, those two characteristics, I think is what really makes that performance great. But there is Cate Blanchett in Blue Jasmine, which, I mean, to me, she's in a class of her own. She is, to me, the greatest working actress we have, or one of them. And to me, she reminds me so much of Katharine Hepburn. She has that same charisma, the kind of slight androgyny, and she's got very accented features, kind of those kind of sharp cheekbones, and just a wonderful carriage. She carries herself so well. And in this performance, you want to talk about a performance that is just tumultuous, volatile. I mean, she is the Blanche Dubois of Woody Allen's world. And I don't think anybody else could have done it quite as well. But Katharine Hepburn. I think if Woody Allen had been around in, like, say, the 40s and he had made this movie, I think he would have cast Katharine Hepburn. But, who better to fill the shoes than Cate Blanchett? So I think she will win, and I hope she does win. Next, we have Best Supporting Actor. And, I can't pronounce the guy from Captain Phillips, his name, but that guy. Bradley Cooper, American Hustle, Jonah Hill, The Wolf of Wall Street, Jared Leto for Dallas Buyers Club, and Michael Fassbender for 12 Years a Slave. This is one of my favorite categories because it has two of my favorite people in it. And that would be Jared Leto and Michael Fassbender. I think that Jared Leto is going to take the Oscar, definitely. Just because his performance has been so revered over the past few months. And I love Jared Leto. I think that he is just a gifted artist and actor. He doesn't make that many movies because, he's busy making music, but when he does make a movie, he makes sure that he leaves an impression. The movies are always interesting, and his performances are always interesting, and he is definitely a method actor. And in this performance, I said this in my review, he, to me, is still sexy as a woman, and he plays a better woman than I do. And I'm just really jealous, honestly. But now, if it were up to me, I would choose Michael Fassbender. He's a very good-looking man. I love him, and he's, to me, my favorite actor that's working today, maybe with the exception of Daniel Day-Lewis and Philip Seymour Hoffman. But to me, I've said this before, he is, talk about a star, somebody who has such intensity and depth with just a look into the camera. He's this generation's Brando to me, and when I watched him in this film, it's so easy to take a role like that, like the one he played in 12 Years a Slave, and make it one-dimensional. Yet you could tell just in his eyes that he's the character is a very insecure person, is very lonely, very sad, and he uses all this violence as kind of a defense mechanism. And he doesn't make you necessarily feel sorry for him, but it just makes him all the more interesting. I just think that he is our greatest actor, one of our greatest actor. I know I just said that, but I think he should win an Oscar. This is probably the best role I've seen him in, or one of them, and he was just born to play it. He and Steve McQueen worked together so well. So But I mean, I do love Jared Leto, so if he wins, I would be absolutely happy with that. But yes, so I think Jared Leto will win, but I think Michael Fassbender should win. Best Supporting Actress, Jennifer Lawrence, American Hustle, Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave, June Squibb for Nebraska, Julia Roberts, August Osage County, and Sally Hawkins for Blue Jasmine. This one I think is going to come down between Jennifer Lawrence and Lupita Nyong'o, and it's going to go to Lupita Nyong'o, I think, because Jennifer Lawrence won last year for Silver Linings Playbook, another David O. Russell film. But Lupita Nyong'o, to me, like, I'm not taking away anything from these actresses, or at least the roles that I've seen. All of them in the supporting actress category were just wonderful. But Lupita Nyong'o, to me, just had that special something, that light in her that made her very special. And she, to me, is one of those actresses that you really need to watch out for. She's just incredible. She has this, like, this look and a face that just permeates the room. And, you know, when I saw her at the Golden Globe, she was wearing that red dress with the red cape, and I'm like looking at her, I'm like, this woman is like a queen that was ascended from the heavens. She's just a beautiful girl, and every time she was on screen in 12 Years a Slave, she just broke my heart. And I think in that movie, because it's so dismal, it's just so dark, she was that spirit, that fighting spirit, and that hopeful character in the movie that I think without her, it wouldn't have worked nearly as well. So, I mean, she is just amazing. I really hope she wins, and I do think she will. Okay, Best Original Screenplay, American Hustle, David O. Russell, and Eric Warrensinger. You can tell I'm really prepared for this. Blue Jasmine, Woody Allen, Her by Spike Jonze, Nebraska, Bob Nelson, Dallas Buyers Club by Craig Borton and Melissa Wallach. I think this is going to be American Hustle, and I don't really see much that could be a competition for it, but American Hustle was just so wildly entertaining. I love that movie, and I think that even though it is done in the style of like the film school brats of the 1970s, those auteur filmmaking of the 70s, I still think that this movie is quite, it definitely sets itself apart from those movies. And to me, it's like a shot of adrenaline into the Hollywood system, much like Gravity. But I think American Hustle, maybe to a greater extent, fantastic script, rich characters. It should win, and I think it will. And finally, Best Adapted Screenplay, 12 Years a Slave, John Ridley, Before Midnight, Julie Delpy, Ethan Hawke, and Richard Linklater, The Wolf of Wall Street by Terrence Winter, and Captain Phillips by Billy Ray. Oh, and Philomena by Steve Coogan and Jeff Hope. I think this is going to be 12 Years a Slave as well. I think that movie is going to I think it's going to win a lot of awards. And, you know, again, I don't really need to say any more about 12 Years a Slave. The script was incredible and the acting really brought it to life. And, you know, what more could you ask for? I do think that one will win, and it should. But anyway, those are my hopes and predictions, and I will be watching the awards, and hopefully I'll be tweeting along with it, which is a sign for you to follow me on Twitter if you don't already. The link is below. And, you know, it should be fun. And other than that, thank you all for listening, and I will catch you next time.